in the last 48 hours. Bitcoin on Sunday was Sunday to Monday was right around 64,000. We touched 64.1 or 64.2, I believe. Then we had a sell-off. We sold off all the way down to the low 58s. As we sit here tonight at 8:11 p.m. Eastern Standard Time on Wednesday the 28th, we sit at about $59,060 on Bitcoin. Ethereum is at 2,530. We've had a lot of sideways action for the past half a year. Since the introduction of the ETFs, Bitcoin has been trading in a pretty tight range. We did hit the all-time high of 73,000. Seems like so long ago now, probably 4 months ago. And we've been trading in a range of 68 to, well, we got as low as 49, but we've been in a tight range of the high 50s to the high 60s, about a $10,000 range for quite some time. Feels like forever, but it really hasn't been. If you would have said that we were going to be trading in this range 2 years ago, all of us would have loved to hear that when we were in the teens or in the 20s, not that long ago. So try to keep things in perspective. Always zoom out when you're looking at the charts. I know it's hard to do when you're looking at your portfolio on a daily basis and you're seeing your coins lose 10, 15, 20%, and you're seeing your net worth, going down. But just remember, it's all on paper. Nothing's realized until you sell, and you're not worth $100 million. So you don't have to worry about the Democrats coming after your unrealized gains at this point. That's a whole nother conversation that we could also talk about as well. Let's dive right into what I want to talk about today, which is specifically Pcoin. For those of you, and I guess I can kind of speak to you, Rich, too, as I'm speaking to the audience, because I'm sure you don't know what Pcoin is. So I'll kind of explain. Pcoin was developed in 2019 as a coin that you could mine, and I'll use that in quotations, that you can mine on your cell phone. So you download the app and you hit a button literally one time a day, and for 24 hours, it's mining a coin, which is called Pcoin, on your phone. In the early days, you were mining multiple coins, quite a few coins on a daily basis. And then as time went on, the mining schedule went down and you were getting less and less coins. Along that process, you were getting people referred to your user base, or I guess is what you would call it. The more people that you referred, the more coins that you were mining. And the hopes was when the coin launched as a full project that you would get all those coins. They'd be released into the ecosystem. You'd be able to trade them on exchanges. You'd either realize the value of that coin, or if you so choose, you could value transfer that into some other project that you liked. That was the thought, right? Well, 2019 was 5 years ago, and this coin in the crypto space that moves and evolves very, very quickly, where projects are basically dropped in a week or two, or no longer than a month, and coins get released into the ecosystem as meme coins or whatever the case may be, as just regular coins, and they get rugged or they survive. This coin has been in development for 5 years, which is an absolute eternity in crypto. They are at the phase, which is supposed to be the last phase. I believe it's phase 3 or phase 4, where they're going to release the open mainnet. And they've been in this open mainnet release pause for over 2 years. So basically you're seeing on your phone whatever coins that you have, and they don't have a dollar value. They're not worth anything because they can't be traded for any value. They can be traded in app. So if Rich had the Pcoin and I had Pcoin, we could trade Pcoins with each other. But they don't have a dollar value. So we don't really know what the value is to be transferring. So in theoretically, you could trade the coins, but you don't know what they're worth. So you don't know if you're getting a good deal or a bad deal by trading the coins. If I traded Rich 100 coins for something, I don't really even know what the value of that 100 coins are. We can make assumptions, but we don't really know. So theoretically, they really don't have any value. But they have many ways that the founders of the team are monetizing this coin that still doesn't exist. And we've talked about that. I've talked about it on the podcast, and I have a video that I made where I talk about that as well. part of the app, when you log on to the app and you mine and you click mine to mine the app, an ad pops up on your phone. Yes, you can disable the apps and you can have you can, I'm sorry, you can disable the ads and not see the ad, but there's millions and millions of users that are using it, and it's a net positive that people are not all doing that, so they are getting revenue from just that. They also have multiple accounts on social media. There's one on X that has like 3.2 or 3.3 million people following the app, that they tweet something out and it gets 10, 20, 100,000 impressions. So they're monetizing that for a coin, again, that doesn't yet exist, that can't be traded. So they're monetizing multiple ways. And at this point, it seems a little bit of a disingenuous project. And individuals like myself are voicing concern that, this is basically, you can't call it a rug pull. That's the counter argument, is that you haven't actually invested any money. You're just clicking something on an app. You're not buying a coin that isn't worth anything and goes to zero and you lost all that investment. So that is a counterpoint that is valid, because you're not actually spending money. You are spending time, but you're also being sold an idea that you're going to have this coin that, you know, some of these accounts that are tweeting are giving you astronomical valuations that they think the coin could reach. Some as preposterous as $300,000 a coin or $30,000 a coin. And one of the other unfortunate side effects of all of these tweets that you get on X are, whenever you tweet something under one of these Pcoin things, you have an account, usually with minimal followers, no avatar that you can see of a human being, saying, I buy coin at good rate, or something to that effect, where they'll give you, USDT, or they'll give you Bitcoin or whatever coin you want in order to transfer you some Pi. But again, there's no trustless third party that you can do that with. I would have to know that, like, if I was going to send Rich 100 Pi coin, I know Rich, I send him the Pi coin, I know that he receives it because we know each other, we trust each other. He asks me to send it and I send it. But if I don't know somebody and I send them, I have to trust them that they're going to send whatever back to me that we both agreed upon. And if I don't know that person, the odds of that happening are next to zero. Not happening. They're just going to get your Pi, and if Pi ever releases, they're just accumulating Pi. I mean, it's like, a phishing scheme, a phishing scam. You send out a bunch of different links, and 99% never click it or delete it, but the one idiot that does, you drain all of his stuff, and it makes up for all the people that think it's a scam and don't do it. So it's in my opinion, again, this is my opinion, doesn't necessarily mean it's fact. And until proven otherwise, I feel this way. I think this is a scam project. I think that the founders are, at bare minimum, being disingenuous, if not just straight up scamming the community. And the reason why I think that's a big deal, and again, the pushback is being that they're not technically stealing money from users in the community, because nobody's investing anything. They are taking money in terms of ad revenue, because they're making ad revenue on the app, they're making ad revenue on X, they're making ad revenue on Instagram. Every time a video is posted on YouTube and monetized, there's a market where money is flowing to people because of a coin that technically does not exist. That's disingenuous, if not an outright scam. The reason why I feel as strongly as I do about calling out the culprits and the founders of this coin is because if we don't do that, and we allow them to continue this scam and continue this con and just accept it, then what happens when they actually do release another coin, because of all the cultists that they've created in this Pcoin, and they realize, like, oh, Nicholas from Pcoin has created, whatever coin, and he's released that coin, so that means he must be releasing this one. Let's go support him over there. And then all these people flood over there, and then he does rug the community, because so many people just believe and trust the individual founders of this coin, thinking that they're good actors, and mad at people like me and others that are calling them out for, like I said, at the bare minimum being disingenuous, and at the max being scammers, and allowing them to come in and scam the community, which I feel on some level they're already doing. But again, it's a valid point that they aren't outright taking money from its users yet in the form of investments. But it's not a far leap for them to decide to do that. And there's enough people, if you comment on these threads, on at least on X, if you comment, there's enough people that will come at your neck when you're saying something about Pcoin that's negative, or you're calling it a scam, or there's a bunch of people.
Well, my first question is, are they making money off the ads?
Yes, they're monetizing the ads for sure.
So they're making money. They're making money. They're making money off of ad placement.
They've dragged this out so long, Rich, that I think this is my thesis. I like to give people the benefit of the doubt. I like to believe they're professors. They were professors, or they are professors at Stanford University. So they're not dummies, right? They're academia. They're smart. So smart that I believe at this point they should have figured out how to release this damn thing and just gotten the thing going and active. That's number one. Number two, like, I think they may have started out with good intentions to release a coin that, you know, you can play off the popularity of Bitcoin. It was 2019 when they created this coin. Bitcoin 2 years earlier had just gone up to 20,000. Things were kind of a little bit slow. They probably figured that things were going to ramp up again in 2020, 2021. Let's get ahead of that. Let's try to create something. Let's get some buzz. Let's do it for free, release it into the community, create a network, create a community, and then have this coin for the people. Then I think they saw like how many people were actually hip to it and downloading it on their phone. Because if I don't have to invest any money and I just download this on my phone, and there's a possibility that I can monetize and make money off of it. Like, what if this coin goes to $1 and I get 2, 3, 4, 5, 10,000 coins? That's 2, 3, 4, 5, $10,000 that I could get just for clicking a button on my phone. Why wouldn't I try to do that?
Right.
If it doesn't release, then I lose nothing, right? So the concept of it is pretty ingenious, because I'm not doing anything but clicking a button on my phone, and I click my phone all day long to do various different things. So it's not, I just open the app, click it, close the app, and it's over. So it's an easy routine for people to start.
But and again, I'm trying to wrap my head around this, because I'll throw my thing up there. So I'm a little confused because I understand data mining. I get it. I understand the blockchain. But to me, these are like really powerful, like it's a lot of energy to create this stuff, to do these algorithms and all this stuff the way I understand it. So I don't understand how, like, using your phone there's enough for what it costs to generate for data mining and all that stuff, that there's all these, these places where our city wanted to do it and they said it was too loud and all that other crap and all that shit that they did. And then that's a problem that all these things are having. How is that phone, this little device that dies every day on me, I have to charge it every day? Like, it just seems like it's bad for my phone.
It's a good question.
Like,
it's
just,
not really,
right? I mean, like,
it's a good question.
or is it such a small sort of part of my day? But if it's such a small part of my day, then how is that little thing that's not that powerful?
It's a gimmick. It's not
right.
It's not actually mining on your phone.
Right.
It's just releasing coins based on the protocol of whatever the blockchain is. There's no energy that's being emitted from your phone. Your phone isn't getting hot. It's not it's not technically mining anything. It's giving you credits. It's crediting your quasi whatever account with coins based on, if you click the button, based on what the mining would be for that 24-hour period. If you forget to hit the button in the 24-hour period, then you don't get the credits for that day.
Okay.
Right.
All right.
You're not, it's called mining on your phone, and people think like you're actually mining, but you're not. It's just basically crediting, which is another red flag in my opinion, because you're not actually, it's not a real blockchain that you're like getting ownership over.
Here's my second thing. Like, if I live in a city where development doesn't happen as much as it should, and some guy comes into town, he purchases this building, and I'm going to turn it into the blah, blah, blah. And you're all excited, and there's a press conference and all that shit. And then it's like a year goes by, 2 years 3 years go by, and they haven't even boarded up the windows yet. So like, this is never going to happen. And that is something like a building, and it takes forever to develop buildings. For something that's virtual, like you said, 5 years, never going to happen. Just my intuition as being an older man.
What I'm observing with this coin is that they figured out that there's so many people that have bought into and again, a lot of them are like India. Like, it's a lot of the foreign people that come from places that are very impoverished, where this is a possibility for them to make money, that the couple thousand that would like be extra for us could be like very I don't know if saying life changing is fair enough or not,
sure.
but it's a significant amount of money if it were to go to $1 or to a coin, and these people have thousands and the early
this thing
there's
has
some early people.
Pi has value. I looked it up. That's what I was doing on my phone
doesn't.
was you were doing a thing
It
like
doesn't.
but
It
it's
doesn't.
what is it? So
It's
when
not.
I look it up and it says $36.
It's not. It's a fake. Yeah, I know. See here.
So
I'm gonna read.
why is it? So how are they able to say that it's $36?
I actually have it up right here, so I'll read it to you. This is right on the website. Pcoin price history. Due to its enclosed mainnet status, Pcoin is not traded publicly and does not have a traded price history on external exchanges. Pcoin holders have long used unauthorized IOUs, which is what you're seeing, to give the cryptocurrency an implied value. And some price data websites started listing a Pcoin price in early 2023 to track the informal market. It's not an actual market price because it cannot be traded virtually. So what
if I own it, let's say I had 12. Okay, I'll just pick a number. Mm-hmm. It's not really worth anything.
It's not.
It's virtual. It's
the problem,
and it's not like it's theoretical. And I think that's the Stanford problem. I feel like this was like a theoretical exercise that these guys were sitting around and let's see the concept of a theoretical. It's like, like what used to be like in business school, like when you used to go to college, they have like the fake product. I forget what they used to call it back in the day. When I was there was a fake product that didn't exist, but they would do that. And there's even movies where they make fun of it.
It's a thought experiment.
Yeah, like a thought experiment, how to run a fake business, and it's how people run a business. And it seems like this is like an experimental concept. They're playing like a psychological / economic.
The problem is
thing
that millions of people have created a Pi community that probably hope more than support that this coin will be released, and feel that they have to continue to support the Pi team
because of their time and their
they're
energy.
So invested.
They're
so invested.
Their tweets.
In some ways more than just the monetary aspect of it. They're mentally invested. They're psychologically, like, on some level.
And that's really powerful, actually, if you think about it, because it's not just an economic commitment. It's more than that. It's like, I believed in this.
They bought into an ideology.
Yeah.
And this is where the guys from Stanford, I feel, are being disingenuous because, again, these guys are very smart. They're intellectual academics, and they realize, like, one of the most powerful things is greed. You could have the best intentions. You could be doing thought experiments. You could be like, look at a good example would be like the MIT Blackjack team.
Right.
That started in a classroom where somebody was running numbers and trying to figure out if you could beat Blackjack. And then they went to casinos, beat Blackjack. And then what happened?
Yeah.
They got greedy,
and
they were going to the casinos every single, you know what I mean? So it's like,
because you start making money off of it.
Yes. It starts as an idea. And then when it's monetized and it's monetized well, then the greed takes over, and the idea and the good intentions bleed into just the greed aspect of it. And I think that's what I don't know. And I don't even know if it matters at this point, if they can't figure out how to open the mainnet, or they don't even want to open the mainnet and they just want to bleed this thing until everybody quits. I don't know which it is, but I do know that the odds of them actually releasing this coin with an open mainnet and actually trading on exchange are almost next to zero, because the odds of this coin being released and being worth not a lot of money are extremely high. Because let's play it out. Let's say the coin does open mainnet. Let's say the coin is released into the public and it's worth like a lot of coins have been in the past, especially when we're not in a full bull market, where the coin's worth less than a penny or worth a penny, right? So if you have 1,000 of these coins and they're only worth a penny, then you're just like, shit, like, I can, maybe I hold on to it and hope it goes up to 2 or 3 cents or 10 cents. Whatever. You're going to have some of those people, but you're going to have a lot of people that are going to be pissed off and thinking, well, these guys were telling me he's going to worth $1 or $3 or $3,000 or whatever the case may be.
Like, and they're making, I mean, obviously, I've just been Googling as you talk and listening. And like, and it's like, one of the things is the ads just support the network, like it support the platform and everything. But I'm like,
there is no platform or network. There's no network.
Yeah.
There's nothing to support.
It's an app.
Yeah.
Like, there's not like they're making money off the ads.
It's like a game. Like it would be like you're playing Candy Crush.
You know what it reminds me of a little bit? Maybe this isn't a good analogy, but to me, it reminds me of like the GameStop thing. Like it's a weird thing. Like it's not the same thing, but it's like this artificially, and like GameStop should be gone. I like GameStop. Like I like stores. I still like traditional brick and mortar stores, but GameStop really shouldn't exist anymore. Like it almost, the fact that it's artificially, and its value is artificially inflated by people. The fact that they're making money off of just because of the almost like a bet, like the way people invest in it. I don't know how the stock, and every once in a while my son and I talk about GameStop and that the value of the GameStop stock, how is this still so high? Like, because there's this weird like investment, like there's that whole thing that happened, and it's weird. It's funny,
Listen to this. This is on Techopedia, which is non-biased. It just gives you what the facts are and related to whatever investments are. So the question is Pi mainnet launched? The Pi platform was initially launched in beta in December of 2018. The testnet was launched in March of 2020. The mobile app quickly gained popularity among users, aiming to mine coins before the project's full launch, so they could potentially sell them or use them for purchases when the coin goes live for trading. However, following several delays, Pi has yet to fully go live, raising concerns that it could be a pyramid scheme or other form of a scam. The mainnet launched in December of 2021, after which it was enclosed with a firewall to prevent external connectivity. Like right away, they launched the mainnet and then threw a firewall up. PiNet released its version V1 roadmap on October 31st of 2023, outlining 3 main development phases. V2 was released in December 2023. Notably, neither version included a timeline for opening the mainnet or a Pcoin launch date. The version 2 roadmap stated that the mainnet would be fully opened in 2024 if 3 conditions are met, but added there is no specific date set. These are the conditions. Finish any open mainnet preparation work. Vague as fuck, right? Meet the following goals for network KYC, which is know your customer, migration, and utility creation. 15 million pioneers pass KYC. They've made the KYC extremely difficult to pass. That's one of the things that you do see people complaining about that aren't complaining on my side, are saying, I can't get past KYC. That's an issue, right? There's 8 points and everybody gets to 7. They can't get the 8th one. Why would you be doing that? Why would you be holding that up, right? What motivation would you have for that? 10 million pioneers migrate to the mainnet. Now, if you need 15 million to pass KYC to get to the mainnet, you're never going to get the 10 million if they're not KYC'd, because they have to KYC to get to the mainnet. 100 real Pi apps that are on the mainnet or mainnet ready comply with Pi platform policies and bring utility to the ecosystem. So you need 100 apps created that are compatible with the Pi app that isn't a coin yet, that doesn't trade, that people like me are saying is a scam. Okay. The absence of unfavorable, this is vague as vague can be. The absence of an unfavorable external environment, such as macroeconomic weakness. War in Ukraine.
Yeah.
War in Israel. What the fuck are you talking about?
Right.
The KYC and migration goals will require the community to bring in more pioneers. In May of 2024, the team reported a technical upgrade to the mainnet mechanism that more than doubles the speed at which pioneers can migrate. The number of users that have migrated to the mainnet has risen from 4.6 million last March to 5.41 million a year later.
There's that many, and I would never have thought it was that high.
5.41 million as of May had migrated to the mainnet, which is only half of the 10 million they need, and the coin's been in existence for 5 years. So I'm not a mathematician, but if I were to do math, you figure in another 4 years, based on how fast they've been doing things up to this point, you're technically going to get this open mainnet. So like every single day that somebody clicks the app, they're getting monetized off that app. Every couple days they're releasing, and some asshole, like I responded with my video, our 7-minute video. It got 10,000 impressions. The video that I put up there, just from people interacting, both calling it a scam and saying no, Pi's the best thing since.
Well, I'm sure you got a lot of hate.
Of course.
Yeah. I mean, like,
of course.
Yeah. I mean, because and again, people are very invested in this stuff. Like I'm a I do all these podcasts here, and it's funny, like in the fandom environment, like, man, if you say the wrong, it just, you get into like these brutal battles about different things. And these are just like things that people watch. Like when you get into something where they're investing their money and their wealth, and they're trying to make money off of. And it's weird because looking at from the outside, because like I know you're the Bitcoin Maxi and Troy's the shitcoiner.
Yeah.
And it's funny, like he messes around with other coins, and it's like if I was looking for the next big thing, like it's weird. Like I feel like I would be looking at a coin that I can actually trade with, as opposed to a coin that may come out someday.
Of course. And and this plays on people's hoping to get rich quick, because if I'm sitting here and I'm looking at Bitcoin at almost 60,000 and I'm saying I don't have $60,000 to invest. I don't even have 6,000 to buy a tenth of a coin. But if I pick up my cell phone, I download this app, I click this button one time a day, there's a chance, right? There's a chance that I could get something from just doing that mundane task every single day. Most people logically would think, what do I have to lose? I'm not investing anything. I click a button, the ad comes up, I erase it, and I move on with my day.
So I'm going to guess, because again, I'm very new to this. So I'm trying to wrap around this concept, like, because even trying to explain to the average person what Bitcoin and crypto is very hard.
Of course.
Like they just don't get it. It's a virtual thing, but you're generating energy, and there's an algorithm, and there's a number, and there's data. And most people don't understand. They don't understand how
one of the
thing
hardest
works.
niches to
they,
talk.
They don't understand how anything
podcast
works.
On.
Right. Right. Like and I think I'm a pretty smart guy, and I don't understand it, but I know that people understand it, and I trust that people kind of know, because otherwise no one would be investing in it. But this is so weird to me, because it's like there's just, you're investing in potential. So like you click your thing, and I guess circle back around. If I was just a guy who logged in every day and I clicked it, and then I went off to Twitter, and I went off to work, and I went to the gym, great. But then there's the people that are like going hard at you if you make you make your video, because they're like, what are you doing? I'm meeting you out in the parking lot, like that kind of thing.
The part that really, I think, has made people mad. Like I did the app I found it in pandemic. I found it in 2020 or 2021, right around that time. And I did it for, I don't know if it was a whole year. I missed days, but I did it for a while. I think I have like 1,000 coins. Maybe, or so. I still have the app on there just because I don't want to forget my login shit, just in case it ever releases. I can sell it for Bitcoin like that if it ever releases, which I don't think it will. But in case it does, I don't want to be like, damn, I shouldn't have deleted it. But the thing that really gets people upset, especially the people that have been around since 18 or 19, real early, is there was a lot of hype. And it wasn't, I think I had like 18 or 19 people in your downline, whatever referrals, whatever you want to call it. And I didn't even try that hard. I just shared it on Facebook, and people clicked it and went, like, I had 18 or 19 people. I didn't try hard. Right. There were people that I had seen, like, you're talking 800 or 900, over 1,000 people in their downline. If they don't migrate in KYC, you don't get their coins. So you got credit for the people in your downline. And you would see it. So when I look at my app, I have like 6,000 coins, but I mined like 1,000. Right. So the other 5,000, I'll never see them, because every single person in my downline figured out what I figured out and said, fuck it. And they never KYC'd.
Right.
I KYC'd in the hopes that maybe it releases. And
so
I can
when
sell
did you
the coins.
decide that I'm not going to waste my time with this anymore?
Oh,
like,
this
was there something specific that happened, or was it just level of frustration that this thing's still not going?
I never had expectations, and I thought to myself, I'm just clicking. So I click so much shit on my phone, and I thought, why not click one more thing?
Right.
It's probably going to be the stupidest shit ever.
Right.
But like some of the Bitcoin I got early was some of the shit coin that I converted into Bitcoin. Right. So I thought to myself, God forbid this thing's ever worth a couple of pennies, I might get like 100,000 Satoshis out of this. And to me, that's a big deal.
Sure.
For nothing. Right. Down the line, 10, 20, 30, 40 years, that could be significant. You know what I'm saying? I was fine with
especially because like you are someone that invested a few minutes of your day. versus the guy that thinks that this is, he's going hard on it.
So the guys that are really upset, and rightfully so, are the ones that had hundreds and hundreds of people in their downline, and they looked and saw, because when it went from when it went to the closed mainnet, which is the stage that's right before open mainnet, when you actually were able to KYC and you went to the next stage, you got to see how many coins you actually had. So people were like, wait a minute, like, why don't I have all the coins that I was seeing before? And then they released the information saying that the only way you get those coins that you saw are if the people in your downline also KYC, but they're making it impossible or next to impossible for people to KYC. And most people, when you try to do something once or twice and it doesn't work, you're like, well, that was a waste of time. And they delete the app and move on. Right. So you'll never get any of those coins that you thought you were going to have. So there's people that were looking. There was one guy, I watched the video, he had 600,000 coins. But what he actually mined himself was something like 20 or 30,000. Right. So like 600,000 coins and 20 or 30,000 is a big difference. Right. To think you have all that and then to realize that you only have 20 or 30,000 because 90% of your downline didn't do what they were supposed to do to get over there. That's also kind of like disingenuous in and of itself because it wasn't very clear. Everybody thought the people that were mining were giving you credit until it's like, well, you were getting credit only if they continue on to the next stage. Right. So you're like, so what I have to like get these people, call them like, no, nobody's doing that. Like nobody's invested. It's like, there's no motivation for that. Right. I don't even know what the coin value is. Why would I? Right. Now, if you're telling me that the coin was, like you said, $35 a coin, right. If it was $35 a coin and I'm missing out on 5,000 coins times 35, I'm going to call somebody up and say, hey, how many coins you got? 10 coins? You're really throwing away 10 times 36.
It's
you
really
might want
funny.
To you know what I mean? But
I'm 57. And I remember when I was about 7 or 8 years old, and I don't know why I remember this, but I remember my aunt got caught up in a pyramid scheme. And it was 50 years ago. Like these pyramid schemes have been going on forever.
Of course.
And it's just, and that one was, oh God, I wish I could remember what it was about, but I know it had something to do with it was like a development in Florida. I think that's what it was. I think it was like they were building a big condominium complex or some crap and everybody got in and you had to like, oh, we need $5,000 more or whatever the hell it was, and it was swampland. And I think finally I remember they were trying to get my dad to buy in on it. And I think at some point my father actually called his buddy in Florida and they went and looked at the area and it was swampland. There was never going to be a condominium complex. Luckily, my father never bought into any of that shit.
Do you remember, probably it's 25 years ago now. I'll say the name of I won't say the name of the person, but you'll probably know. Sweetwater? Yeah. You know the person I'm talking about that got caught living in Vegas? Yeah. The first people he got was all his family. Yeah. And then spidered out from there. And
I know people that lost their money on Sweetwater.
I know people. I know a guy,
like lots of money, like rich people that
I know
incredibly what I can perceived. And I guess, well, I'm going to retract that. I'm not going to say that I thought they were smart. They were rich because they got money from their dads. Like they inherited a lot of wealth, but I thought that they were pretty smart guys and they knew what they were doing and they lost a lot of money on that.
I know a story of a guy, blue collar, went to high school with my brother, blue collar job 25 years ago, lost 91,000. Oh my! And this is 25 years ago. So yeah, that's 91. I would throw up today at 91,000, but 25 years ago, lost $91,000 of his retirement.
Yeah, somebody when internet shopping was becoming a thing, someone came to me and we were literally still at the old Niagara Falls High School. So that was 1994. This had to be like 1996.
Open in 2000. So it's 90s,
and I literally can picture the phone call in my classroom where my wife called me because someone in our family was going all in on this. And the good news for us is we were broke. We didn't have money. We literally, the first year of marriage, we were eating ramen noodles. Like we really were, like peanut butter for lunch. Like I couldn't afford like a Starbucks if they had them back then. Yeah. I mean, I was so poor. I'm like, I hope it works out because I got nothing. Maria, we don't have money for heat, let alone investing
sometimes the universe works itself out.
So I said, hell to the no. And we had a family member lose a ton of money, but he had gotten advice from again another very wealthy friend, pretty wealthy friend, and thought this was the next big thing. And it, and it was funny, like, it did go to FCC, obviously got involved, and then there was a case, and then people did get, like, I think they got 10 cents back on the dollar.
Every new market is going to have bad actors come in. I mean, you saw it, like you gave the example of like the internet age, like you're talking about early days of the internet stocks, like, oh, I got the new .com, right? I got the new .com stock,
Yep.
Scamu.com. You know what
they
I
might
mean?
as well,
like,
they might as well have called it
here
that.
it comes,
they
you
might
know
as
what I
well
mean?
have called
So,
it
like,
that.
You're gonna always see bad actors.
The psych.com.
Yeah.
Psych, gotcha.
Yeah, you're always gonna see bad actors in every space. And crypto is, I mean, it's still relatively new. I mean, Bitcoin is the oldest in the space, and Bitcoin was created in 2009. We're on 15 going on 16 years, and you got all these other coins that are less than 10 years old.
So at what point will Pi what will it take? Obviously, there's one side that it suddenly it's they announced tomorrow it's going live.
I just read you the conditions.
Right.
That's the conditions that have to be reached. 2 of the 4 that I read to you are,
but at what point will
super
people
vague.
just finally say enough is enough?
They won't, Rich. There's a new sucker born every day.
This is a long game, like, right?
That's Rich. Let me
Although
ask
I
you a
live
question.
in Buffalo.
Let me ask you a question.
I live in Buffalo.
Let me ask
and
you a
there's
question.
people
Hold
that
on.
still think the Bills are going to win a Super Bowl.
Let me break this down super simple for you, right? In the place that we are sitting right now, right? Where we are sitting right now, in our general area, there's 4 that I can think of,
Right,
in a 20-minute drive of
Right.
casinos, right?
Yeah.
Now, we both understand as
Right.
functioning logical adults, when you walk into the casino and you give your money to the cage and they give you chips,
Right.
and you walk around to a place to place those chips,
right.
each and every one of the places you decide ultimately to put your chips is rigged for you
Sure.
not to win, right?
Right.
We all know this logically. Walk into a casino, is it empty?
No.
There's a sucker born every day.
Well, it's funny because it was something I wanted to think about. I wanted to bring up with you because I thought it was kind of funny. I saw this online the other day, and it was, and I wasn't planning to bring it up in the air. I was just asking about that. Like, there was a study, there was a report, the amount of people that have more money invested in, like, online gaming, sports betting, fantasy leagues than they spend on investing. Like, they were comparing.
I put that on Facebook.
Yeah,
tweeted
maybe
that.
that's right.
I put it on
Oh, you
Facebook.
did share
Yeah,
that.
it was
That's
me
right.
on Facebook.
And I thought that
screenshot
was I mean, all of this stuff, like that type of stuff, gambling, casino. I go to Vegas.
So do
I love going to Vegas.
I don't mind going to the casino every once in a while, but
Right.
I know what I'm
But
getting
I
myself
know,
into.
but I'm like,
Yeah.
my son is 23, and he is actually up at our casino.
Well, it might
But-
not be a good thing.
But but he is so practical. He's like his old man. He the day he went, he never brings more than like $100 to the casino. And now, because he's playing with house money, as he calls it, he doesn't even bring his debit card when he goes to the casino, because he doesn't want to be
It's very good
tempted.
practice.
He brings $100
practice.
cash, and he still says, I mean, he's up. I think he's up because he's gotten really good at blackjack. And he knows it's luck. Like, he doesn't think he's good at blackjack. He doesn't think he's like, I'm good, I figured it out. Like,
he's not going to be trying out for the MIT blackjack.
no, he understands that it's just he's having a nice run of good luck,
Yeah.
because his buddies are broke.
Teeth kicked in.
And then and actually another reason he's up is because no one wants to go. He's the only one, because they're all broke, because and he's like, well, I'm just sitting on the whatever number. I think he had $600. He was still up. And it's just literally, I think it's just sitting in a drawer someplace. I'm like, at least put it in the freaking bank, or like get a tax shelter or something. But I mean, but if you're doing it for entertainment, whether it's fantasy football or even like this type of stuff, if you're doing it, I'll open the Pi app today. Great. Good for you. You're learning as you go. But if you really, it seems like you could be better. You could spending your energies in other ways.
My stance as somebody that has the small little platform that I do with this channel, and my X account where I have people that follow me, I'm somebody that is choosing to have a voice in the space, not necessarily having a voice in the space because I don't have a large enough following to consider that, but I'm choosing to give my opinion on things. I think I wouldn't feel right being a part of the Bitcoin and bigger crypto ecosystem if I wasn't calling things out that I felt were, like I said, disingenuous or outright scams. And I won't go all the way and say Pi is a straight up scam, because I don't think you can say that when people aren't actually losing
Right.
monetary value. But I don't think it's a big leap to say that the people behind this coin, if they're not called out and held accountable by more people like me, that it's much easier for them to release something
Right.
and come and make that big hit and hit the community for a couple million. And then everybody's like, oh, we didn't see it coming. It's like, yeah, you did, because I've been saying it, and other people like me have been calling them out for this shit coin that they got, that they're
So
trying to
is
scam
there,
people
and I
on.
guess the question is with this type of stuff, and again, this is the first time I've heard of this one in particular. Like, is there, I mean, like, does the FC, does the the government shit, like, what's the what agency would be monitoring?
SEC.
FCC.
Well,
They'd be
the
monitoring.
SEC.
FCC. Like,
No, SEC.
okay.
Securities Exchange Commission.
Wouldn't they be monitoring this kind of stuff? Like, at what point do they step in and say, listen,
It
you
has
guys
to be,
are like,
it has to be sold to the community where you're buying with the thought of profit. That's what a
Right.
security is. You're not buying anything.
right.
Nobody, see, that's why I'm like, I'm toting this like
So unlike
slippery line.
Enron and all that shit
It's
that
a
happened in the
fine line,
90s,
because
you know.
when I don't want to say all the way that there people are being scammed,
Right.
because scam insinuates that people are putting money up and somebody's stealing it from them.
Right.
That's not happening. But there are people making money based on an ideology
Right.
that has a fallacy behind it. I personally, my opinion, believe that the coin is never going to be released. Okay. It's an opinion. It's not fact. I don't know that to be true,
Right.
but I have a track record of years showing me that the odds of that are greater by the day.
Well, if you came to me and said, like, Rich, you should get Bitcoin, or you should get Ethereum, or you should get whatever other one you threw at me, dog with hat or something. And then you're like, and there's also Pcoin, and I had $100 or whatever I had. And I'd be like, and then I was doing like the pluses and deltas. I'm like, but this one's not even like, I don't even, I mean, obviously I can't buy it, but like, just to, I wouldn't even look at it. Like, I wouldn't look at a possible project unless there was like, I really felt like there was some way I could invest in it at a real level, and I think that's kind of why I'm surprised that after 5 years, people aren't starting, like, more people aren't starting to like, come on.
I
Like,
think
you
you're
should have got
getting
off the pot, so to speak.
I think you're getting more and more, at least when I get involved in these threads there, I feel like that there's more and more people that are on my side of at least like, all right, dude, should I get off the pot at this point? Like, what's
Right.
going on? But there's still a lot of people that will defend, and like I got this one guy, it's funny, he calls himself Pi Guru. and I was going back and forth with him, and I refer to him as guy of guru of coin that doesn't exist. But like,
well, if you're a guru, the
he's
funny thing, if you are a guru, you are philosophical
he's
anyway.
calling me a clout chaser, and I'm like, what clout? I'm calling out the obvious. It's not like I'm out here saying something that's like completely bucking the trend, and I'm like trying to make a name for myself by like going after like Bitcoin or going after like Nvidia and saying Nvidia is a scam. Like, I can see it. It's a hot take. It's like, no, man, like, we're talking about a project. And again, I use that super loose, like a project in the crypto ecosystem where Joey Jerkoff can go in his computer in the basement and create a coin and release it by 5 o'clock tomorrow, and people can buy and sell and trade it and get rugged and
we watched the
scammed
whole Netflix
or make
movie.
money
We watched the
on
whole
it.
Netflix movie about
And
that
here we
scam.
are arguing about
Right.
a project of
Right.
a coin that's been around for 5 years as a concept, and you cannot buy, sell, or value transfer. That's the point. Like, you don't have the option. I don't own it because I can't transfer the value for anything.
Well, what else? I'm trying to think of, like, I'm sitting over here. I'm trying to think of, like, is there something in the real world where I would wait 5 years? Like, I would have quit by now. Like, I would have been like, I'm done. Like, like, I was talking to a guy I know that works in the city, and he was talking about some development project, and he wants it to believe in it, and the developer wants him to do something, to help support it. And he's like, I'll believe it when I see a construction crew there. Like I want to see
Yeah.
something happening. I remember we were building the school in Niagara Falls. There were people that didn't believe that new school would ever open.
I remember that. Yeah.
And I'm like, there's steel. There's literally steel up. Like you can
Yeah.
go see the steel. Like,
Well,
and I understood
to be fair, that they dug in the ground downtown and they just left a hole in the ground.
Yeah,
And
you know, the Aqua Falls thing.
They've done that.
Right.
So it's happened in the falls
and I don't even fault those people that thought it was never going to open. Like I was heavily involved in that. I was on planning committees and shit. Like I worked there. So I knew the opening date and we hit it. But I understood the pessimism of folks that had been burnt before, so to speak. So I guess that's the point. Like you would think by now for something that doesn't seem to be going anywhere, that someone would be like, there'd be more people that are kind of pushing back and saying, like, should have got off the pot, so to speak.
You would think that, and that would be a logical part of somebody's brain that would be like, hey, like, even if you only got involved in, think about like even the people that got involved in 2022, like, anybody that spent any amount of time in crypto knows that things move very rapidly and very quickly in crypto. And at the very least, you should be questioning why something in this space that rapidly evolves so fast went from 20,000 coins 3 years ago to millions of coins when you count all the meme coins today would be dragging for 5 years. And you would not say, at the very least, can we please question why we're allowing these people in this ecosystem to monetize something as an idea that does not exist?
Do they ever come out and say, we understand your frustrations, we're going to be ready January 26th? Like,
no, what you'll get is Nicholas, who's the founder of this coin, to make these bullshit videos, just like pumping people up that, oh, we're going to do a hackathon where people can tell us ideas to make the coin better, or, oh, like we're going to do KY. Like, it's like all these like upbeat things of like, and he's like, it's coming soon. It's never like, December 31st, the coin, it's going to be dropped by.
Right.
You're never getting that. It's super vague. Fall, spring. It's like the goalposts have been moved like 3 or 4 times. They used to at least give you like by a certain, now they don't even say that.
Because they know they can't.
Well, they know they're not going to, I think. I don't think it's that they can't. Nobody's that stupid.
Are they so
creating a coin?
They're at a point now where they're just so trapped that they don't know how to get out of this. Is that what is it like?
Why would you turn off a money spigot?
Well, that's, and I guess that's the question. I Googled that at one point when you were talking. I was trying to like get a sense of like the network. How much are they making off of advertisements, for example? Like how much are they making versus if they're making $6 million a year off of advertisements?
Their overhead is like nothing. Like,
right. Because it's not a real thing.
It's an app. So you're making revenue off the app. You're making revenue off of apps.
Once the app's working, yes, there's monitoring apps and there's updates and shit like that. And you've got to expand your network facilities because you got more people joining. But that is not expensive. There's a building somewhere where there's warehouses and with servers, but that's it. Like there's not a staff. There's not 500 people. You're not paying them, dental. So like how much the cost of how much they're making off of advertisements versus what their operating budget is for something that they say they're doing, which again, I don't know. This is the first day I've ever heard of it, but it seems like your analysis seems sound to me based on enough of real world things that I saw that never happened, whether they were here or locally or other places. Just like, it's just bizarre.
Much like my thoughts on coalescing the voting public to sit this election out, which will never happen. I think the only way, theoretically, that this app will ever release this coin is if everyone stopped logging in. Because if everybody stopped logging in and the revenue significantly decreased, the only logical thing to do would be to get one last hit, release the coin, and whatever coins he's got, everybody's going to probably what their biggest fear is, and it's a good fear. I mean, it's not that it's a good fear. It's a logical fear, is that they release the coin and everyone sells, and the coin tanks, and nobody keeps it. It doesn't trade,
which is
People
what I
use
think
it to-
anybody now is waiting to do.
that I would do it. I'm not holding the coin.
Right.
Like
It's
even
not,
if
you
even
don't
if I
believe in
saw
the coin.
10x, even if I saw 10x, it would be like, all right, whatever. Like, cool, good. I'm
And
glad
and
for
when
the people
and
that
it
got
will
it.
be a fire sale when it if it ever
100%.
it would be a
So-
fire sale whenever it launched.
So I think the only
because
way
no one's hanging around.
No.
And no, I'm sorry, I should rephrase that. There are the true believers, and obviously you've interacted with some of them. They're saying they believe in it, and good for them. But most everybody else, and it doesn't matter if they believe in it, because if 60% goes to the fire sale and gets whatever they can get, because it didn't cost them anything except pressing a button. If I could get $200 for pressing button free, I'll take the $200. It's a week of groceries or whatever.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, that's most
Agreed.
people are practical that way.
Agreed. And again, I think the only way that they hit the escape button is if they see that the gravy train's probably about to run out, and we're not going to make the amount of revenue that we were making from the ads, and they're just like, one last hurrah, let's release this thing, because I'm sure that the owners are holding a bunch of coins too, and they're like, all right, we're not going to make money on this anymore. Well, we're holding these coins that are,
and they'll be the first to sell somehow.
Yes.
Yes.
We're holding these coins that are worthless. They're going to know before we're going to know.
Of course they know.
So they're going to have the sell order ready the minute that they open the
It's
mainnet.
all automated.
And
it's
they're
not like
flood,
they have to call their broker.
They're going to flood their coins,
right?
Which whatever the coin opens up at, they're getting that price.
Right.
So if the coin opens up at 10 cents, they're getting 10 cents.
Right.
And then when I go to sell my coins, I'm getting,
which is another reason they're never going to tell you, like,
penny.
It's going to go live on December 4th, and it's going to go. They're not going to tell you that, and they're already going to have sold it before it even technically. As soon as that button's clicked, they already sold.
Once the coin is released into the market, if that day ever happens, which I don't think it will, unless the scenario I just gave you, then the market decides. The market will do what the market does. If the founders are going to rug, they're going to rug, but like then it becomes just every man for themselves, like it always is in any sort of trading environment, right? So then it's just buyer beware at that point.
Right.
But we're not even allowed to engage in that. Like we don't even have that opportunity. Like you have these coins in a wallet that show numbers on a screen that don't mean anything. And it sucks because there's just so many people. And like I said, a lot of the ones that I've interacted with are from like, areas of the world that are much different than the areas that we come from. And even a value of pennies could have a dramatic effect on on their life and I understand. And when I'm interacting with some people, the ones that keep it pretty, above the rim, like there's some people that go below and just, they say shit. And then I just hit them right back with the nonsense. Like I can play in the dirt in the mud too, but like the ones that are like, I can tell like they're just defending and they're just doing it from a place where like, you can tell they just really want it to work. They just really like they're like, oh, you don't understand. This is going to change the world, peer to peer, more like it's going to be something even better than Bitcoin because everybody can have. It's like I know where that person's coming from. I understand, and it's like I'll try to educate on but I'm not going to I'm not going below the belt with those people. But then you got the ones that are just taking shots, like call me a clout chaser and like saying like I'm like Bitcoin is a failure, and I'm just like, bro, like what are we talking about here? Like, come on, like you're talking about a coin worth 60,000 in a coin you can't trade right now. Like we're really having this conversation. You know what I mean? So it's like.
A coin that doesn't exist, it's very hard. Like just the statement of like Bitcoin is the one in my mind. And again, based on what I'm even hearing, listening to you and the own research and the reading that I've done and videos that I've watched, like it's the only one that's really that is the game changer. All the other ones will get pulled with it. The way, like, a certain game becomes popular and then other similar games get the crumbs that follow it. And, like certain thing, like, you know what I mean? Like that, there'll be a trend and everybody else that can ride that trend will make some money too. Not as much as the trend setter, and I think that's kind of what but I think Bitcoin has that ability, to be that other thing that maybe more and more people are starting to recognize, we need another system, so to speak. And I think other coins, because of the limitations of how many Bitcoin there just might not be enough to change the system. So somebody might say, there enough people might say, well, we can't get into Bitcoin. There's just not enough Bitcoin. Maybe we'll get into Ethereum, and maybe Ethereum is the other one that comes along too. I think if Bitcoin makes it, you'll get one or two others that will go too. I don't think they'll ever be as big as Bitcoin based on the little bit of research that I've learned. And it's very small. But I do feel like there'll be others that will be like, like similar in mind that will pick up because like I said, there's only so much in the market. And I think other places will be desperate. So there'll be others that will rise too, but not to that level.
Yeah. I mean, there's just so much. There's so much there that you just said, and we don't have enough time to go into all of it. But the one thing that separates, not the one thing, there's many things in my opinion that separate, but one of the major things that separates Bitcoin from all the other coins is the fact that you don't have an individual to knock on their door and say, "What were you thinking?"
Right.
Or can you change X, Y, and Z? Satoshi is either dead or the world's best player of hide and go seek because nobody knows who that individual or individuals is. So every single one of the other coins has someone that you could corner and potentially have changed protocol.
Okay.
So the fact that protocols can be changed makes those coins no different than the coin that we all play with, which is the United States dollar. The reason why Bitcoin was created the way that it was created was to allow it to be something completely different from what it was created to opt out for. I go back to the fact that it was created in 2009, right at the end of the great financial crisis, right after we had printed what we thought at the time was a ton of money. In retrospect, was nothing compared to what we did a decade later.
Yeah.
So it needed to be uncorruptible. It needed to be nobody can knock on their door and say, "Hey, we need you to change this," or "We need you to print more. We need 21 million. We need 31 million. We need 300 million."
Right.
Or we need it to go like this, like that. It was set up where there has to be a consensus of everything in the world. And we know in politics, getting consensus of everything is impossible.
Right.
We know that. So it is what it is. And the people that tried to change it in 2017 went and made a couple other coins that they're not failing because they still trade, but they trade at a fraction of what Bitcoin trades at. So Bitcoin survived. Those coins you can say survive, but are worth nowhere near what Bitcoin is worth because you can't change Bitcoin. If you want to change Bitcoin, you got to get off the ship and go do something else.
Right.
So the problem with all the other crypto coins trying to be something like Bitcoin is they never can be. So like you'll hear a lot of Bitcoiners say, and I'll say it too, like everything goes to zero against Bitcoin in the crypto sphere as well. Like, because they can't be what Bitcoin is.
Right. Like the other ones could
it
all
doesn't
go
mean
to
they
zero.
go to zero. It doesn't mean they go to zero.
Right.
It means they're traveling in a different direction than
my,
Bitcoin is traveling.
My feeling is that if Bitcoin goes to zero, then they're all dead. Like, but a lot of them will die off, but Bitcoin could still work.
Yeah.
Is probably going to still be working because we already know of ones that are pretty much dead. And so but I do feel like there are other things we trade with, like obviously the American dollar is still very strong, but there's other things that get used within the marketplace, not to the level, but they exist. And I feel like there will be some smaller cryptos that will be out there. I just don't think Pi is one of them.
Of course not.
Based on what I've heard in the last hour.
No,
of
course not.
Like, don't buy it. So yeah, that's my opinion.
Stop mining that shit. Call it out on social media. If
you're doing it because it's fun, you're pressing the app every day because it's something you do.
Yeah, I think if you're watching this and you're also a content creator or you're somebody that has a bigger voice than I have, like, and you see these accounts, these Pi accounts that are tweeting stuff that are, being disingenuous, and you see people that are like rah-rah on that shit, jump in there and set them straight and call these these disingenuous borderline scammers out. So in a year or two, we're not having a conversation about why Nicholas, who created Pcoin, just created this other coin where he actually scammed dollars out of the community and people actually got hurt because people didn't have enough balls to step up and call him out. That's why I'm doing this. It's not because people are necessarily getting scammed out of dollars today. They're getting scammed with an ideology or at least disingenuous ideology, and we don't want this to turn into something where people are going to get scammed in the future. So I think for the people that have a much bigger microphone than I have, we should be calling them out, and people, other people that are doing things in our space that we see as disingenuous, we need to chop their legs out when they're doing things so they don't keep doing it. And then other people that are coming into our space brand new get hurt, because that's the biggest threat to I mean, I'm a Bitcoin guy, but like if you're a crypto person and even a Bitcoin person, the biggest threat to our space is the stunting of the growth and development of the new people that come in. If the new people that come in are coming in and they're seeing Pcoin or these other bullshit meme coins, like I've said it before, like I don't think Pepe and with coin, with hat, whatever the hell these bullshit things are, I think they're a net negative. I don't think they're a net positive. The people in crypto don't want to tell you, oh, it's good so people learn. I don't think that, because way more people will get hurt in those coins than are going to get helped. They're going to have negative experiences
Every fake
instead
one,
of positive experiences.
every fake one does extreme. Every one that doesn't have the ability to do what it's supposed to do ruins the marketplace. You know what I mean? Like, it's just a bad player. Like every, I'm trying to think of an analogy. Like
it slows down mass adoption.
Yes. Cause like it just, cause you can look at too many bad examples. And if you don't understand what it is, and again, I'm not saying that I do completely, but if you, well, what about that one? What about that one? What about that one? It just makes it very harder for legit things to, because so many people are getting scammed, or I mean, not scammed, but they're investing their time and their energy into the wrong thing. And then the real thing that really could be the one that's the game changer is getting a bad rep because of all the bad guys around it, so to speak.
Agreed. Yeah. It just slows everything down. Like the goal, I think a common goal that we have as Bitcoiners and as people that are like got Troy, that's the crypto guy. You got me, that's the Bitcoin guy. We have a lot of, I think I'm getting him closer to my side. He's definitely not getting me on his side, but I think I'm getting closer to the Bitcoin Maxi by the end of this cycle. Hopefully he'll be there. But I think we both wholeheartedly agree that like things that slow down mass adoption, things that stop people from advancing in our ecosystem are just not good. And I think, taking this time to talk about Pcoin is valuable, because if we can save a couple people from the aggravation of that, it's a net positive. And even those like the meme coins and stuff like that, like buying those shit coins and being exit liquidity for people and getting a bad taste in your mouth with those types of trades and stuff like that, and learning about that. The best thing you could do coming into this ecosystem, in my opinion, and again, this is just my opinion, and I'm a Bitcoin Maxi, so you're gonna expect me to say something like this, is to buy a little bit of Bitcoin on an exchange and see how it feels and see how it trades, and just learn about self custody, read about self custody, and then when you feel competent enough, try to do self custody. And that's a little bit of a message that I was giving when we were in the bear market in 22. When we started this channel, I was full on, everybody needs to be self custody after the exchanges. But I've realized that somebody brand new coming into our ecosystem is not going to go from zero to self custody. It's just not realistic. Self custody is a little bit of a challenge to understand and do correctly. I think if you just get in and you choose Binance, or you choose Coinbase or Gemini, or whatever is in your general locality that you can use for an exchange to buy your first Bitcoin. And I don't mean pay 60,000. I mean, just get your first sats, get your first Satoshis, see how that works, see it in your app, keep learning. And then as you graduate through the system of learning with Bitcoin, eventually self-custody, self-sovereignty, or self-sovereign, because again, my opinion, but I feel like this opinion is true. The only thing on this planet Earth that you can truly own, the way society has been set up for us in present day, is self-custody Bitcoin. You think you own your house, you think you own your gold, you think you own all that other stuff, But if you don't have something that nobody else can get access to, you don't truly own it. And if you're being taxed on it, by holding it, if there's liabilities attached to it that it's continuing to go out, self-custody Bitcoin that sits in cold storage is the only thing, in my opinion, on this planet that you truly own. And the quicker that you can get to that place of understanding what that is and how to do it, the faster you get to self-sovereignty. And I will end this podcast the same way I've ended the hundreds of other podcasts that we've done. And this goes for life, not just Bitcoin. Don't trust, verify. Thanks for watching. See you next week.